find a girlfriend that's custom designed and perfect the way you look, or even one without arms and legs, maybe you'll get tired of screwing her in her plastic bum and want to move to her ear canals, which are stretchier than real human ear canals.
So stop motion has kind of become a reoccurring topic on my channel. You know, it's my favorite type of animation, and I honestly just love talking about it. You guys know that I've made iceberg videos in the past, and I have been planning on making an iceberg video on stop motion things. However, I discovered that a lot of these things deserve a long form video, as you can see by the Moral Oral video or the more recent Mad God video that I just did. And now today we're going to talk about another one that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. The story we are going to be covering today is someone who had a very good talent. He honestly could have been a very recognizable face in the stop motion world, you know, like Lee Hardcastle or one of my personal favorites, David Firth. Everything changed once he posted a video that would not only end his entire career, but ruin his entire life. But before we get into this horrific backstory of this disturbed individual, there are a lot of people out there who have bad habits and are trying to find the best way to get rid of these said bad habits. But a lot of what they try just doesn't really seem to stick or work that well. There are plenty of methods out there, but what if I told you guys there's a better way to break your bad habits? I'm talking about Fume, a company that looks at the problem in a different way. Because once you break it down, not everything in a bad habit is necessarily bad. So instead of just cutting out the bad habit completely cold turkey, they decided to just take out the bad out of the bad habit. Innovative award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, it's completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume just used flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, they just use all natural flavors with an adjustable airflow. And it is also designed in a way that you can kind of fidget with it. You know, there's a bunch of movable different parts you can play with on this thing. You know, it gives your hands something to do when you're trying to de-stress. It comes in a multitude of different flavors. The one that I like the most right now is a crisp mint. It's just very refreshing and almost feels like it clears your sinuses in a way. Honestly, it just kind of looks cool. It feels really sturdy. It will definitely be a talking point. So if you guys are thinking about taking the bad out of the bad habit, go to this link right here or the link in the description, and you can use code BionicPig to save an additional 10% off your order today. Do it. Dolly Flesh started out as an aspiring horror artist under the name Misery Magic on Instagram. He posted short clips of his work, and to say that they were horrific would definitely be an understatement. Even though initially when he's starting out they just looked like little clay blobs, it honestly was still quite horrific, and it gets worse as time goes on. You can tell this guy has a knack for horror, but unfortunately, knowing the terrible crimes that he's going to commit in the future, it really adds a different layer of horror to these. So he eventually changed his name to Dolly Flesh and branched out to YouTube and Twitter, posting images of his clay art and claymation videos. And I just want everyone to know I am going to be blurring most of the images and videos in this, as they are quite horrific. Yeah, I know they are made of clay, but boy, it is some disgusting stuff, and it is way too unsafe for YouTube. His art really started out as just horror stuff, you know, gore, torture, just people being maimed, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'll admit, they were honestly pretty well made, but gradually it started to get a little bit weird when he started to lean towards a more sexual nature when it came to these images. Actually, one of his earliest stop motion animations actually shows a character stabbing a clay character in the butt and proceeding to have sex with that said cut. He was kind of showing his true colors a little bit early on, but he really started to lean in it as time went on. On Twitter and Instagram, he made a lot of clay girls being shown in many different sexual positions. Full shots of butthole, a lot of butthole, even poop. Yeah, there's even a few images of characters eating poop out of clay butts. And without context, obviously this could easily be seen as a joke or a meme. But once the context is there, it makes things very unsettled. You really start to notice how he truly views women, or honestly just people, as object, because most, if not all, of the images here are of women. And at first it was just that. He just made clay versions of women in sexual position. But it started to get quite concerning whenever he made a version of himself in these situations. He had images of him doing sexual things to these women, and sure, it is one thing to make clay figures of yourself having sex with women, but the thing that makes it really concerning is the fact that these women, most of the time, are missing arms and legs and are brutally mutilated, organs ripped out, everything, and he's basically having sex with a dead corpse, or someone who's barely hanging on to life. And the fact that he made a clay creation of himself in these situations is obviously concerning, but soon enough, it wasn't just women or people, it was animals as well. Having sex with a dead dog, chopping up a cat. And if you're thinking, oh, come on, there's no way this kid is actually into this stuff, like this is just absolutely horrific, right? Let's dig a little bit deeper and add some more content. Let's take a look at a video posted by Dolly Flesh himself. After a while of making claymations and just clay art in general, he actually started doing face cam videos, and they were interesting to say the least. One of the first ones he ever created was called I'm Lactating Milk, and it is exactly what you expect it to be. He even made a tweet hyping up this legendary video beforehand. As we could see, all he's doing is just squirting out milk from clay boobies. So I would say it's pretty easy to tell that Dolly Flesh is not mentally well. However, a person watching this, again, would probably think, oh, he's just joking around. He just has a weird sense of humor that a lot of people just don't understand, and this is all just satire and a joke. He goes on to make another video titled, I Prefer to Lose My Virginity to a Sex Doll. And I know, you see that title and you're already giggling to yourself and think, okay, come on, this has gotta be a troll. But if we take a look at these tweets leading up to this, it really shows how much of not a joke this is. I want to lose my virginity to a sex doll because it is made to replicate a real dead girl by like 99%. We will do a lot of kinky things. I'll take a crap on your chest and roll on it. It's called browning, and I'll let you puke and pee in my mouth. And I'll also give you a nice warm bath. Okay, that's it. I'm looking forward to making the sex toy real porn video with big water explosion. I want to touch girls in maybe a bit of a rude way. One of my life goals is to cream pie a sex doll, and I might fail at that too. I'm the type of guy that never wants kids, but if I have babies with a sex doll, you don't have to worry about it starving or being killed. How often will you find a GF without arms and legs? Maybe I'm tired of having sex in her silicone bum, and I would want to move to her ear canals. When you have a bunch of silicone dolls and start sexually harassing some of them, you don't have to worry about anyone calling you a cheater and start crying, wah, 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 I pooped my diaper. He talks about sexual harassment and how sex dolls can't, complain about it. And he also talks about how he wants to touch girls in a bit of a rude way, kind of telling everyone like, hey, I don't really think girls are people, and I just want to go around sexually harassing girls without them whining and complaining about it. And he also has a video of him shoving his fingers into a balloon, and it just says, why I prefer to lose my virginity to a sex doll. And all it is just him just shoving stuff in a balloon while he's in a bathtub. Oh boy. Now I want to clarify here, I'm not one to kink shame. I believe in live and let live. I don't give a crap about people who would prefer to have sex with sex dolls. At least they're not doing weird shit to an actual woman. But the reason this is so concerning is his reasonings behind why he wants a sex doll. It's not just for sex. He wants a sex doll because you can cut off their arms and legs. You can have sex with their ear canals. They don't scream. They don't whine. They don't complain. And now let's actually show you guys the video of him talking about why he wants to lose his virginity to a sex doll.
I'm the type of guy that never wants to have kids. But if you decide to have babies with a sex doll, you don't have to worry about it starving or being killed. How often will you find a girlfriend that's custom designed and perfect the way you look, or even one without arms and legs? Maybe you'll get tired of screwing her in her plastic bum and want to move to her ear canals, which are stretchier than real human ear canals. And we could do a lot of kinky things. I could take a crap on your chest and start rolling on you. This method is called the brownies. And then afterwards, I can give you a nice, long, warm bath to clean you up. And then once you are all dry up, maybe I could take you for a walk outside by carrying you, or even to the mall and buy you some new fresh panties from the women's panty store, so I can feel more horny looking at my sex doll. And then once we're back home, I'm going to fill you up with hot water and pop you like a balloon. That will pretty much do it for this video.
Now, why is this important? Why am I even bringing up the sexual things? Well, the reason this is important is I feel like this is really showing his tendencies, the things that he has potential to do. This really does show how mentally unwell he is. Now let's move on and talk about the characters that he created with his claymation art. One of his recurring characters was named Itchy the Clown, and he made an animation called Itchy the Clown Dinner. I'm going to have to blur most of this video as it'll definitely get me age restricted, but all that's depicted in this video is just pure body horror. Itchy wakes up and is surrounded by body parts, people ripped up, arms and legs cut off, body parts in the drawers, on the floor, everywhere. He walks around his house and you see that there are people still living, but they're missing arms and legs and even have like their eyes poked out. Before, that is a huge reoccurring thing when it comes to his art and his videos, is everyone has no arms and no legs. Every sexual thing that he shows, there are always no arms and no legs. And remember what he said about the sex doll? He wants his sex doll to have no arms and no legs. You really start to piece together that all of this stuff is truly just a sick fantasy for him. It's safe to assume that everything he created was a fantasy of his. Let's talk about Itchy the Clown a little bit more and the inspiration of Itchy the Clown. Because before the making of this character and the release of this character, we actually see that he made Pogo the Clown, better known as John Wayne Gacy, the man who raped, tortured, and killed 33 young boys. And even in the video itself, we could see on the wall a mask of Pogo the Clown. Now, I know there are many cases of horror artists taking inspiration from serial killers. I mean, that's just a thing. But it's hard to say whether or not this is an artistic inspiration or something a lot more sinister. And as we look a little bit deeper, we could see some more inspirations for Itchy the Clown as we take a look at his music playlist. First song is Passenger of Shit, Gore Clown. Interesting thing about this is the clown is actually something I personally recognize. And this might be a reach, but this is just something that I personally know because I played this specific game. There was a game way back when arcade machines were, still around. It was called Carnival, and I remember this game vividly. It was in the arcade at my local bowling alley, and I was quite young whenever this game came out. This game scared the living shit out of me. It's a zombie clown horror shooter where you just kill a bunch of clowns, zombies, and monsters, and a recurring character in this game is that said face that's on the thumbnail of this song. And not only that, but there is another song called Dark Carnival that he listened to as well. So you could obviously tell he has early inspirations of clown horror, which could be another reason why he shows so much interest in John Wayne Gacy. It could be a reach, but I just thought it was interesting that it was something I'd recognized from my childhood. So let's move on a little bit more because this is just the beginning. After going through all of his work, there's another weird thing that I noticed about his video about the sex doll. Babies and cannibalism. There are a few images of babies getting killed, pregnant women getting babies cut out and then stabbed, images of women with a pacifier or being in a cradle with a milk bottle, pictures of women drinking milk out of other women's boobies, him feeding a milk bottle to a woman with no legs or no arms, a woman eating poop off her finger. And to talk about the cannibalism, there is an image of body parts in a box saying, I feel hungry. And to combine both of these concepts into a real life setting and kind of solidifying the idea that these are fantasies and not just his art, he made an IRL ASMR video of him eating spaghetti out of a clay baby that he made. From this video alone, you could see in his face This isn't a joke, this is real. So everything we've seen so far has just been what he's posted, but we don't necessarily know him personally. However, his best friend actually posted a video following his heinous crime. A YouTube channel named Ali made a video explaining their experiences with him personally, and apparently they were online best friends with Leighton for roughly 5 years before the incident. They met through a YouTube comment section and hit it off, having similar tastes in horror movies. They were both around the age of 13 to 14, and Ali noticed quickly that he idolized serial killers, murderers, and especially school shooters. He would send Ali photos of his favorite serial killers and even explain in detail why he idolized them. Tsutomu Miyazaki and Edward Painsell were apparently his favorites.
Leighton liked to talk about how he wanted the people at his school to just die. Sometimes he would talk about ways he wanted to kill them, actually. Putting poison in the water fountains was one idea he had. Mustard gas in the vents was another. He would talk about the girls that had bullied him and rejected him, and how he wanted them to suffer.
Whenever she started dating people in real life, because he lived really far away, he would get very angry and over-sexual with her, sending her nudes and pushing her to tell him about her sex life in great detail. He told Ali that he always thought about them whenever he masturbated, and we even get to see a personal perspective of the moment when he tortured and killed those 3 hamsters. Apparently this happened after Ali got a gerbil themselves. Leighton randomly messaged Ali saying he wanted to get some hamsters. And on the day of the incident, he messages her saying that he got the hamsters. Ali, none the wiser, was obviously excited about this, but he replies with, "Wait, you know what happened, right?" Completely oblivious to the video that he posted. Ali went to Twitter and Instagram defending him, not believing that he could actually do something so terrible. But after discovering the truth, Ali asked over and over why he did it, but even through text, you can tell that this was just another day for him, showing absolutely zero remorse. And all of this leads up to the video at which he was arrested for. 1 kid, 3 hamsters. From the title alone, you could just assume, oh, it's probably a kid just playing with some cute little hamsters, but unfortunately the truth is not what it seems. This video consists of Dolly Flesh torturing and killing each hamster. He is thoroughly enjoying himself throughout, showing absolutely zero remorse for his actions. For obvious reasons, I will not be showing any of the torturous moments of this video, but I myself could not get through it. As someone who has 10 pets, I am a very big animal lover. But the video consisted of him stabbing the hamsters and even going as far as putting a hamster in a microwave. And this truly just cut me to my core. The fact that someone can do these things, not only do these things, but record it and then post it on a YouTube channel for the public to see. This kid is a very, very disturbed individual. What proceeded after this video was quite an outcry from the public wanting him to be arrested, especially on the internet. Ali was actually the one that called the cops on Leighton for the crime that he committed. And the funny thing about this is he actually went on to post more tweets and videos, just like nothing ever happened. He even posted the video of the hamsters on a bunch of different Reddits. And a lot of these Reddits he posted at were pet loving Reddits, like the r/aw or r/pet lover. His last video he ever posted was him just having sex with the plush doll.
What are you doing? Why are you touching me like this? What are you doing? Help! Help! Someone help me! Help! What are you doing? Please stop it!
All right, he was obviously arrested and put on trial. And this is where the justice system kind of fails again. See, my big issue with a lot of these crimes is when it comes to people like him, that they don't stop someone before the bad thing happens. They wait for the bad thing to happen and then kind of just clean up the mess. I've read many true crime stories, I've seen many true crime stories, and a lot of them have that recurring idea that there are a billion red flags, but for some weird reason, everyone decides to wait until the murder happens for anyone to care. For example, torturing and killing 3 hamsters, you would think that that would harbor him a little bit of jail time, right? As not only does that show his lack of empathy and remorse, but it also is a gateway to murdering bigger animals and potentially humans. Everyone knows this, it is common knowledge. But in 2019, he was released on a $1,000 bail. And afterwards, there was actually a group of residents, including his neighbors, that protested against that said decision. Protester organizer Berdre Frazier actually said that the fact that he was let out almost instantly on bail with no house arrest is super concerning for our community, which I can imagine. There was eventually a trial set for 2021, which he actually pled guilty to. And the reason he pled guilty is he got a plea deal. One charge of killing or injuring an animal, and another charge of publishing said content. He said his reasoning for posting this video was because he gets enjoyment out of ruining people's day. He was sentenced to 18 months condition sentence followed by 3 years of probation. And that condition sentence is honestly the silliest thing I've ever heard of. He isn't allowed in pet stores. Not sure if they know that, but animals don't just exist in pet stores. It's such a ridiculous sentence that just makes no sense and doesn't solve anything. And following that sentence, there was even more protesters there, with people pushing for the harshest punishment possible, but obviously that didn't happen. During Wednesday's proceedings, the Lebute family issued a statement in regards to Leighton's mental health, noting that he is severely autistic. The Lebute family are dedicated and hardworking members of the community who have done their best to raise their son Leighton, who unfortunately was born with major intellectual deficits and suffers from severe autism spectrum disorder. The opinion of the experts involved with this case is that his intellectual deficits and autism played a critical role in his behavior that brought him before the court on these charges. This was a desperate cry for attention by a young man with the mental age of a 12-year-old and who had been bullied all of his life because of his autism. The Lebutes love their son Leighton very deeply. The last year has been very difficult for the family, but they are strong and will move forward as best they can and make sure that young Leighton stays away from the areas of the internet that so negatively influenced him. We ask that the community refrain from name calling or making threats on the internet towards Leighton or his family and let them move on as best as they can with life in peace. Now, the interesting thing about this is they say that the internet negatively influenced him, which doesn't really make much sense to me because he was the one creating all of this art. I guess by internet, maybe they mean just looking up serial killers or looking up horrific things and finding inspiration and stuff like that. But if they mean social media, that's kind of confusing because he was the one who was making this stuff at his house and posting all of these things. Which also brings up another question as to how the hell did his parents not know anything was going on? Did they not know about his art? Did they not know about all of the videos that he was creating? If he has the mental capacity of a 12-year-old with severe autism, don't you think he should be monitored to a specific extent? But regardless of that, I don't think anyone should be attacking his family at all. That is obviously ridiculous. But for the parents to ask the internet to just not talk about the kid who posted a video of him murdering hamsters on YouTube, yeah, sorry, that's not gonna happen. That is an unforgivable act that everyone will remember for quite a long time. And I'm sure I'm not in the minority here that believes that 18 months of staying away from pet stores is not the best sentence. But regardless, Lebute has not posted anything since that day and has remained quiet. Let's hope that his family found a helpful situation where he can kind of control these urges or learn a better outlet. If he only used all of his talents in a positive way and not some weird, sick, twisted fantasy, everything would be different right now. And it is unfortunate that a very talented person ends up turning out to be someone like this. But it is quite concerning that there's someone out there who would happily murder animals with not a single ounce of remorse. I just hope with every fiber in my being that they watch over him closely, because you never know with people like that. It always starts with animals. There's always a billion warning signs. But thank you everyone for watching this video. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Also, thank you to all of my beautiful patrons, the people who have been supporting me, because a lot of these videos do get copyright claimed, so every little dollar does help out immensely. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next one.